Weird timing.
Oh, sorry.
Welcome to Ball and Chain Podcast, episode 204. This is the sickly
The
podcast.
plague episode.
The plague. Not only did Resident Evil 7 release yesterday, but we all are sick as a dog, including the baby.
Yeah.
Which I know we talked about in like the pre-show or whatever. Last week we said, so we're... Why is this not... Oh, no. There we go. That's why I wear headphones. Welcome to Ball and Chain Podcast. This is episode 204. I'm going to say the same joke again. We're all sick. And what was... Oh, I messed it up. Something about Resident Evil 7 releasing, and we've got the plague, and you said something about the plague. And
Yeah,
Anyway, that's why I wear headphones, so I can hear myself. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, we got to get a new cord for this mic. Or, I don't know if it's the cord or the mic. I don't know. I think it's the cord. Anyway, we're here to talk about some games and things of that nature. Not a lot to talk about this week, but...
We have plague and a wake baby. So.
An awake baby. I know last week we talked about how we had him on a schedule. Well, he defeated us 1 week later.
Yeah, it didn't last very long. I think the illness didn't help. Everybody coughing and...
Yeah, it's keeping him up at night, which it sucks, but, you know,
and
it is...
He's napping at dinner time, which makes bedtime not really...
Right, that's the worst.
Much later, yeah.
So, anyway, well, how about we just start with this? What is Ball and Chain Podcast, Amanda? It's my angel.
Where you forced me to talk about video games and entertainment.
I force you? I literally force you. I let you bring the baby on and do all sorts of fun things with him, watch him drool and cough into the microphone.
Right. No, it's started by us forever ago when we were either just newly married or engaged. I don't really recall. But started out as a video gaming for couples kind of a thing that we were looking at doing, talking about like 2-player games mostly, or differences in your gaming style and what you like versus what I like, and kind of how to meld those. Since then, obviously, many years have passed. Kids have been added to the mix. Lifestyles have kind of changed a little bit. And so it's kind of morphed into not just video games, but tabletop games, entertainment, movies, books, television shows that we're watching, basically all over. What are we doing that's entertaining us lately?
Mm-hmm.
Including baby watching.
Right, watching.
We even bring live samples.
Right, samples. So, Sawyer, what kind of games did you play this week? Did you play any good games?
The exploding diaper game.
He listened to me. Well, he listened to me playing Resident Evil.
Oh yeah.
Or no, he listened to Dexter. He wasn't playing. We were watching Dexter. Well, I was watching Dexter.
That's a wonderful thing to. Yeah. So you're training our child, like subconsciously making him a serial killer before he's even 1 year old.
You know what? I find since I'm going back and watching the episodes again, I realized in season 1 they go back to Dexter's birth home or where he was his original home, and the street address was 1235, which is 10 digits off of my home, my original. Well, not my original, the one in Tiffin, 1245. Are you gonna be a little serial killer? Are you? That's okay, as long as you kill the bad guys. Yeah. Don't eat them, though. No, that's gross.
Then you become Hannibal Lecter.
Right, don't meld the two. That's disgusting. All right, so this week, our top 3. Top 3. We're going to talk... Angel's going to talk about build blocks. Is it called build blocks? What's it called?
Build battle.
Build battle.
In Minecraft.
In Minecraft. And then we're going to talk, what was the second thing? God, I had an outline, but someone closed it without saving. Oh, God, what was the second thing? Oh, the Xbox Live update that's coming out.
And
and then Resident Evil 7 is going to be the first impressions and things like that. Oh, boy. We're really, really excited. So you want to kind of jump over and take the wheel?
All right.
So what's build battle?
Well... Eli, our oldest, you may have heard us talk about the fact that he's really into Minecraft. He's really into watching Diamond Minecart, which is another YouTube channel. And one of the games that Dan on there plays is Build Battle. So for Christmas, Eli decided that it would be a good idea to get me a Minecraft uh, card so I could download Minecraft on the PC. Actually, we had the Xbox version PC so that we could play Build Battle. It's on Hypixel's server, so I'm learning about different Minecraft servers now and how to access them and the different games that they offer and things like that, which is something that obviously you can't do on the Xbox.
Not yet, at least.
Right. So that's kind of all new. But the one game on there that we're really into playing is called Build Battle. So you've got 5 minutes. You get thrown in a room with 16 other people, and there's your choice of like four or five, I think 5 words, and you get to vote on what you want to build. So something pertaining to this, it could be bear, rabbit, Super Mario,
Cactus.
Pokemon, cactus. I mean, I've seen Western. So there's a lot, just all different kinds of things that you could be building. Now I'm playing on my laptop and I don't have a mouse connected. And the one thing I'm finding really frustrating is controls, which you experienced a little bit last night when you tried it out.
Oh yeah.
I'm getting a little bit more proficient or efficient with it, I guess. Don't drop the baby, please. Just because I've played it enough that I'm starting to get a little bit more used to it, but it definitely, I think, would be easier to use the mouse. But then you get to vote on other people's builds, and I don't know, it's fun. It's fun to play with Eli. He has a little trouble with the controls and stuff yet too. So we kind of sit and play it together. He kind of gives me some direction, and we kind of team up together. It's really good for using, creativity and thinking about different ways that you can use different types of blocks to build things, and it's kind of like speed Legos almost.
Right. Yeah, it's like speed Legos with multiplayer friends across the internet. It's really fun.
Now you do get some
mouse and keyboard.
You do get some immature people though that are building things that are not suitable for young children's eyes, but I don't know that they necessarily know what it is.
Yeah.
So you do, and I would say that's rare. Maybe once every 20 or 30 build. I mean, it doesn't happen that often, but
does it have a way to
report those people? I have no idea.
Oh, really?
I'm really not very proficient in it yet, knowing what the different things do and how to. There's a chat bar on the left hand side, and it says click to get your reward. I don't know how to click over there. I haven't figured this stuff out yet.
First world problems.
Yeah. So, but I just kind of go on and I just do build battles, and that's about it. But, so yeah.
Cool. Okay.
That's that.
So I don't really have a lot to talk about with the update. Major Nelson had a podcast that he released a couple days ago. You could download his podcast, and the last one he did was all it was about. He had two of the developers that are on the Xbox team that develop software and develop the code for the Xbox dashboard. Which this used to be a really big deal with the 360 because it seems like almost every iteration they were adding something new, and it was
completely different.
Well, not completely different. I mean,
you started with the little panes,
right? They had dashboard updates in the sense that like the whole thing was changing, but like it's every quarter they release a new update and add new features and stuff like that. So this go around, it's not releasing to the public yet. They've got like the preview program that they've started. This time around, one of the cool features, most of the features have to do with getting to the destination faster. So like they're changing a lot of like the double tap buttons to single touch, and things like that on the controller, like getting home and getting into your games. They're making the main panel of your currently playing app or game or movie or whatever. It's going to be smaller, and then there's going to be like your achievements, and there's going to be other buttons included in that space. So it's not just going to be taking up the whole window. So it's kind of neat. The one thing that I find interesting that they're adding is, and it's going to be awesome for people that have kids or gamers that have disabilities, is a co-op mode or co-pilot mode is what they're calling it, to where you can log in with two separate controllers but control like player one. So the way they're going to have this work is essentially the way they explained it online. I haven't played it yet or used it yet. It's like, let's say you want to control the thumbsticks and I can control the buttons, right? Or I can like if we want to play Halo, I can control like the movement, you can control the triggers, and I can control the jump and stuff like that. So you can be, firing the weapons and throwing the grenades, and I can be aiming and running and jumping and stuff like that. Which is great because Eli doesn't quite have the dexterity yet to play those types of games, and really kind of get into it. Which I think is why he's really big into Twitch or not Twitch, YouTube,
watching other people
watching other people play these games. So because he doesn't have the dexterity yet. So I think this is a great way to kind of get him in that in that mindset where, okay, I want to do this and I can focus on this and still not have a bad time. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's a great, it's great for kids and, like I said, people, gamers with disabilities. So it's always nice to see them like updating the system for that. Here, you want to take this little boy?
Sure, I'll take
He's
it back.
getting a little restless. But so the preview program that should be rolling out shortly. And like I said, you can head over to MajorNelson.com to download the his latest podcast. I think it was on the 23rd that he had talked about it, but it was really sweet. So, and then the last thing on our docket today, pretty short podcast.
Yeah, very short. But most of our shows have not yet returned.
Yeah.
I still need to finish the Game of Thrones game I've been working on. I still have 2 episodes left in that.
Maybe we can talk. We'll talk about that next week. So you got a deadline. Finish that damn game.
Yeah, I know. It's been a work in progress, and I just haven't had much of a chance to play it.
So let's talk about Resident Evil 7.
Do we have to?
We have to, because this is amazing. Like, have you ever played any of the Resident Evils?
I've never played them, but I watched them be played. It's really not my cup of tea.
So I think
I'm sorry, this is going to have a lot of sounds of sucking.
And this is him sucking on his fist. He's really big into that.
Well, and he's teething currently, too.
So I'd rather that than screaming.
And he dropped a pacifier on the floor, so.
Which one should I chew on? How about this one? Anyway, so Resident Evil 7. Okay, let's rewind real quick. So my favorite, I think I've talked about it on the podcast. My favorite Resident Evil was the original one, but remastered on the GameCube. That was the first one I actually played. Afterwards, I had purchased the handful that came out on the Dreamcast. I think Nemesis came out on there. Code Veronica was another one. But yeah, the original remastered one on the GameCube was really one of my favorite games. And it was, that scary, like, still camera, not really third person, but, they had like a real, like a framed in shot to where you can't move the camera, but if you went off the screen, the camera would shift and go into a different location. So it was really had that really scare effect going on. The other thing that I really enjoyed about the series was you traveled the same areas multiple times, and things would change when you were going back and forth between those, between point A and point B. Whether it's solving a puzzle, looking for ammunition, things like that. And a lot of the times it was you'd walk down this creepy hallway and nothing would happen, but the next time or the third or fourth time you'd walk down that hallway, dogs would jump in through the window and really scare the shit out of you. And then I felt like 4 for the GameCube was probably the turning point for me, where it introduced the third person over the shoulder view. I think they did it right. The storytelling was excellent. 4 is really good. And then 7, from there on out, all 5 and 6, and then I think they had like some trashy first person shooter one, which was garbage. But 7 really takes us back to that first one, but with a new generation spin on it. So you don't have like the over the shoulder anymore. You don't have the up in the corner of the room kind of like split second switch camera angles. But what you have is this first person view of extremely graphic, like intense
Very
game.
graphic.
Like it's not, and the graphics aren't nothing to write home about.
No, that's nothing amazing.
But I mean, it's not like
I
you're
know,
not.
like you weren't blown away by the girl's hair. Like
No, the
that really
girl's
kind
hair,
of
it was very
it's
distracting.
chunky.
Right.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
but I can look past that because the gameplay is excellent. Like being able to and they changed it up a little bit in the sense they're well as of right now because I've put about maybe 2.5 maybe 3 hours into it,
Right.
and there aren't really zombies in this game. They've they've basically because in the
Well,
original
there was that creature that kind of came out of the wall,
right,
whatever the heck that
that I'm not
was.
sure what that is, but in the originals it was very zombie heavy, where these were dead infected people coming back to life or whatever, and like they were stumbling and your traditional
Right.
half dead human or
No,
whatever.
I do remember watching some that had like things coming out of their heads. Like you'd shoot them and they'd have like these growth, almost like alien like looking type
Right.
things.
I have a feeling that's where this is gonna go. But
Right.
the beginning part of it, you're introduced to this family that's almost looks like they're under experimentation. Um, the daddy.
I think I'm gonna have to step
That's
aside.
fine. That's fine. The daddy that is so as he's called is the first, I guess. Well, maybe the second one because you're in search of what looks to be your girlfriend or of some sort. She goes missing. And then you get this weird text or video message saying like, "Oh, don't come after me, blah blah blah. Please stop. Don't look for me." So naturally he goes and you go and look for her. But anyway, there's like this weird split personality thing happening with her. You actually you find her or whatever in the house, and her complete attitude changes, her demeanor changes, her facial structure. She has some type of like extremely powerful. What'd you say, hon? Right. She has like this really super strength kind of thing going on, and you learn this all in the first couple minutes of actually playing the game. So they literally throw you in face first, but it went back to that really scary, like, jump scare type of technique that the original had, where you're not running from hordes and hordes of zombies. In fact, you're only running from this family for right now. But I will give you one piece of advice. Well, at least according to the internet, it's more. It will behoove you to shoot the family members in the face, which will stifle them a little bit, so they can't walk for like a couple seconds, turn around and run. The game has a pretty good like hide and seek feel gameplay to it, to where you can run and hide in the darkness or hide behind something, and the AI will kind of go into this like searching mode. And what's really scary is they talk to themselves. So like they'll sit there like talking to you, talking to themselves, carrying on a conversation, but it's very surreal. It like these people are nuts. The other part that I found like blew my mind when it first happened was what would in normally a normal game like of this caliber would be like a death sequence where like you get caught by the bad by the boss or whatever, and he goes into this animation where you're pretty much helpless. You can't control anything. He's tearing apart your arms or whatever the case may be. But in this game, the daddy, quote unquote daddy, interacts with you in several different ways. Like he interacts with the environment. The one time I basically failed to block one of his attacks with his little shovel thing, and he chopped my hand off at the wrist. And I kind of sat there for like a brief second. I'm like, oh, okay, well, obviously this is gonna go into some death animation, and the little screen's gonna pop up saying you're dead. Well, the first time it was my hand, I think. Yeah, the first time was your hand. And I'm like, okay. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden you see the guy pulls up his hand, and his wrist is cut off, and he's holding his hand or whatever. And like, you're like, oh my god, I can still control my guy. So you're literally walking around like holding your hand, and it's like encumbersome, and you're walking real slow. Um, Obviously, if you don't pay attention, he's going to catch up to you, and bad things are going to happen. But what what I find interesting is there's a whole bunch of these different sequences, and I don't know if they're scripted because I've only played through it once. I'd like to go through and play through it again. Now that with the information I know now, especially about conserving ammo, because hey, if you've played the last few iterations of not Dead Rising, Resident Evil, that ammo isn't really scarce. Like, ammo is found everywhere. So I kind of assumed that was what was going to happen. So I was using my ammo pretty heavily. But anyway, so I've had a couple of these instances where I've lost limbs and like I've been able to continue playing. So if you get knocked down and you're in that death sequence, type of mode or whatever, like it's not it. You can keep playing. The strange thing, which I think is probably going to get a lot of pushback from the community, is like the magical medicine that you obtain throughout the game, which helps you relink your limbs. So yeah, I was able, after my foot had been chopped off, I was able to grab my foot, put it up next to my stub, and drop the this medicine all over it, which is just a liquid, and somehow it magically reattached to my body. I'm not sure if that has something to do with the very first interaction I had at the beginning of the game, where something, I won't spoil it, something happens and you get abducted. So I'm wondering if you in fact have been infected, but we'll see. I don't know too much more, and I don't want to spoil too much about it. But I have not. This has been such an excellent experience. Like, it takes me way back to the first one. I'm really enjoying it. It got to the point where I was like, I really wish I had a heart monitor because I could literally feel my chest, my heart beating in my chest. And no game has done that in a long, long time. And it might just be because I'm getting older, and I don't play those games as much. Yeah, I'm gonna have a heart attack. That's gonna be scary. Amanda just told me I'm gonna have a heart attack. But anyway, so I remembered that my father had given Amanda a blood pressure bracelet thing to check your blood pressure, and it actually checks your heart rate in there as well. So it's a little delayed because you got to push the button and it's got to check your blood pressure, but it also checks your pulse. And it was interesting because there was definitely an increase, not a very big increase, but there was definitely quite a bit going up as I was playing. I really want to find something where I can check it constantly. I wish I had the newer Fitbits that tracked your heart rate, because that would be hilarious to kind of see, like, oh yeah, hey Fitbit, I'm working out right now. Sit down and play some Final Fantasy, play some Resident Evil. But yeah, it's so far so good. I highly recommend it. And this kind of goes. This is also kind of endorsement for Redbox. They've really stepped their game up. I use their app, like I use their website and their app were like the same thing for the longest time, and good. And the website, it was terrible. Like, it was really bad. So this time around, like I went to their website to check to see if they had it available, and they said, and they have the little pop-up says, "Hey, download our app. It's new and exciting and blah blah blah." And I'm like, okay. So I tried it, and not only can you see what locations have what inventory, you can basically reserve a copy of the game if it's there, and once you're done reserving the copy, you can get it's got a directions button right there. It'll take you to the red box. So like, you can literally be like, okay, I don't know where any of these places are, and it lists them all by zip code, and it gives you like how far away they are. But they've really got their shit together. Like, I was sitting at a stoplight, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the one in Kroger's. Here's my credit card number. Here's the PIN. Reserve. And it's like, would you like directions? I'm like, yes. And it pulls up Google Maps, so it's a reliable source. Works with your navigation system. But they have their shit together. I was shocked. So, good job, Redbox. Way to have it together. So.
Well, this isn't the first time I think you've rented a new release from a Redbox either, is it?
Yeah, we rented Final Fantasy. We
Yeah.
rented Final Fantasy like that, where I just happened to be in Meyer, and I was like, I wonder if Final Fantasy's out and it was Monday evening at like 10.
Prior to its actual release.
Yeah,
right?
It was supposed to be out on Tuesday at midnight, and it came out Monday. It was in the box. Obviously, somebody dropped it off, Monday at like, I think it was probably like 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Bane pointed out that Dead Space 1 had a lot of the same, a lot of the same feature, like scare tactics, like zombies in the closets and stuff like that. Like this literally like destructible environments, family members are bursting through different parts of the house.
Right, like the one chick uses a chainsaw, and not
Oh
only
my,
does she doesn't open the doors that you go through, she'll just chainsaw through them
right,
instead of opening the door, and
right.
you just see the saw cut blade coming through. And no, I'm not a horror genre fan, games or movies. I don't like to be scared, and I'm easily scared. So this is really not for me. But um, I I totally lost my train of thought on where I was going with that.
Said it wasn't for you. You wouldn't walk upstairs last night while I was playing it.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. But yeah.
The other thing that is awesome is the
Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Surround sound. Like
Oh
I would,
yeah.
if you're gonna play this game, if you like horror, like I said, not for me. But if you're someone who would enjoy this type of game, I would definitely say the surround sound helps with the spookiness factor.
Hmm.
Because it definitely, you hear them, as you said, they talk to themselves, so you can hear the footsteps, you can hear them muttering whatever it is they're saying to themselves.
Right.
It just amps up the level of crazy.
And it's like an old, and it's back into like the old creepy houses where
Well,
you
it's
have
in
the wood.
Louisiana, so I don't know if
Right.
some of this is going to end up being like voodoo related,
It's very
something.
possible. Like it wouldn't be the first time they've gone there.
Right. They kind of talk about like bayou, they're down in the bayou, and so it's some crazy stuff going on.
And one of the first items that you find is a list of people's names, and it's either got dead or
Turned.
and there was one that said P. I don't know.
Or L. It
Or
was
L.
L.
Yeah, it was L. So you're looking at this and you're like, holy cow, there's a lot of names on this list. Newspapers were saying 20 plus, and there was like probably like close to 30 names on that list.
Right.
But the one thing, before we go, the one thing that I really enjoy is how you go through the doors. Like it's something so tiny. It's the smallest thing. The UI in the game is very minimal, very minimal. All the indicators where you can interact with things are all mono. They're all white, so there isn't no giant blue X button. And you don't it doesn't pop up with what button to press until you're actually on top of it. It'll have the little A button, but you'll have the little like V looking thing where it's pointing down at what you can interact with. And those things don't show up until you're like maybe 3 feet away from it. And you can take like 2 more steps and then the A pops up. So that's awesome. But walking up to a door, nothing happens, right? You walk up and there's no A button. It doesn't tell you to push the door. You just literally, you could choose to push the A door and, slam it open or slam it closed. But if you just walk your character into the door, he'll naturally just stick his hand up and like peek through, and you can see you can see into the room, right?
Right.
So like if you're running from somebody or whatever, and the house is in a circle floor plan, so very very nice floor plan. But if you circle back around and you're kind of catch up to him, and you can kind of open the door behind him, you're like, okay, where is he? Shit, he's not there. Where the hell is he?
Although it's a little confusing because there's a lot of rooms. It's a big house with guest houses, and then like under like attic space, and under the building crawl spaces. And
oh, that's another thing we didn't talk about, the storytelling through the tapes. That's really cool.
And you play through some of the tape too. Yeah.
Right. So you find these not cassette tapes, VHS tapes, and you can play them on these TVs or whatever all throughout the mansion, or whatever it's usually called a mansion. And they're not just cutscenes. You actually play as the character, which is kind of weird that you're playing as something that's been recorded that your person's currently watching while someone's trying to kill them. But that's besides the point. But it's really cool. Like it kind of, if you've missed something, like we missed we saw the pedestal or whatever, and there was a puzzle.
Right.
And it had like
shadow puzzle.
the shadow puzzle or whatever. It had the image of the outline, like, oh, there's a bird image. We got to find a bird statue to set on the pedestal. Well, we looked forever trying to find this stupid puzzle piece. We couldn't find it, but we did find a tape, and we put the tape in. And part of completing the tape mission, it forced you to complete a similar puzzle like that. So basically, like, hey, stupid, this is what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Which turns out we had the bird puzzle piece the entire time. We just didn't realize that's what it wanted. So it's not hold your hand at all. Like, it doesn't say, okay, it's time to use this piece. It's got that really old school Resident Evil look where you pick up an item and you can kind of turn it around and look at it in different angles. You can interact with them, so you can like open it. Like if there's like a lock picking thing, you can open it up.
One thing I did notice is your inventory is very small.
Yes, that's awesome too.
That's awesome.
That is awesome because like when you're you're sitting in your like safe area or whatever, and you're like, okay, I know there's a boss battle coming up, but I need to get in the door, I gotta have this item, and this item. So I can either choose to take the shotgun and three boxes of ammo, or I can take the shotgun and 2 herbs to heal myself. Like there's that trade-off. Like, okay, how Rambo am I gonna get?
Again, a reason this game is not my genre.
My God, it's the best. Like I dare say, like, unless they completely screw it up, this probably is going to be my favorite Resident Evil. I mean, they did have that weird swamp monster looking thing crawl out of the wall, which is kind of creepy. But that's just, experimental. Maybe that's the L thing. Maybe that's the person that turned in, wasn't turned, but wasn't dead. Just liquefied. There you go. All right.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, that's Resident Evil. We'll, tomorrow night, I'm going to stream I'm going to play a little bit tonight, but tomorrow I'll probably be about 4 or 5 hours in. I'll stream some tomorrow night. So if you want to watch, I'll shoot out a tweet or whatever when we're ready to start. But yeah, we'll have some fun with some Resident Evil. Oh my God, it's so much fun. Again, I wish I had a heart rate monitor. I wonder if there's a Bluetooth one where I could put it up on screen during the stream. That would be epic. I'm going to look for that. I might spend some money tonight. And then return it tomorrow. Come on. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do it. That's crappy.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. If you watched on Facebook, we really do appreciate you. If you're on our Twitch stream, twitch.tv/BC Podcast, great. You guys are awesome. We really do appreciate it. Do us a favor, though. Head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/72DPI online. Hit the subscribe button. Leave us a comment in the comment section. We really do appreciate it. It helps out the channel a lot. Helps keep the single light on. We would like to get a second light, or as Amanda put last week, if we could get a reflector. Yeah. We could put that over there, and it would reflect the light, so I don't have this nasty shadow. The dark side. Maybe next week we'll be over the congested soundingness. Although
hopefully
this could be midnight radio, smooth jazz. So you can't hear it.
It's like Phoebe on Friends with her sexy voice when she got sick.
I don't remember
she tried
that.
to lick, and then her friends got sick, and she was trying to like lick their drink cups and things like that because she wanted her sexy voice back.
Oh my God. Okay, so Family Guy did an episode like that where Peter got sick, and Lois is like, when he got better, Lois was like, "Oh my God, you got to get sick." And I think she kept trying to get him sick again. I'm pretty sure that was Family Guy too.
Huh? Interesting.
But I don't know. They steal ideas from everybody all the time. So anyway, it looks like Sawyer is out for the count.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, again, thanks for watching. We'll be back next Wednesday at roughly 8 o'clock. Amanda will be talking about some Game of Thrones. I'm going to try and beat this Resident Evil game before we take it back.
There's a lot of playing over the next couple of days.
I'll have a review up, ready to go. You'll have Game of Thrones to talk about, and we'll find something else fun to talk about. I don't know. We'll see. So, all right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.